The memo instructed Tea Party protesters on how to artificially inflate their numbers. Spread out in the hall, the rep should be made to feel that a majority, if not a significant portion, of at least the audience opposes the socialist agenda of Washington. Alexander.
Yeah, that's a distinction, and using the federal government to essentially target folks, and that's certainly not what anybody thinks that the Obama administration is doing. But
You know, a recent report from your department raised a lot of eyebrows and caused a bit of controversy, because in that report you said this, that the Department of Homeland Security assesses that right-wing extremists will attempt to recruit and radicalize returning veterans in order to exploit their skills and knowledge derived from military training and combat. The willingness of a small percentage of military personnel to join the extremist groups during the 1990s because they were disgruntled, disillusioned, or suffering from the psychological effects of war is being replicated today.
They become childlike and regressed.
We could continue on this, but I want to squeeze in another thing, and that's the fairness doctrine. Suggesting, are you a supporter of telling radio stations in America what content they should have on their radio station?
Well, I think we should all try to be fair and balanced, don't you?
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong.
No.
How about Nancy Pelosi?
$150,000 on.
Palin. I've now been in 57 states, I think.
It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged.
We looked into that one, but it did make headlines.
I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
Which
Currently, like, I don't know, actually.
The Republicans.
Republicans.
Republican.
Republicans
Yes.
control Congress?
Yes.
Probably Republican, because the president's Republican. That's my honest answer.
I think it's Republicans are controlling it now, I believe.
Oh. Do you know who Barney Frank is?
No.
How about Nancy Pelosi?
No.
How about Harry Reid?
I've heard that name, but I don't know who that is.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
I have no idea who that is.
Nancy Pelosi?
She's pretty cool.
Harry Reid?
I don't know who that is.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
I don't know him.
I don't know who Barney Frank is.
What do you think of Harry Reid?
Don't really know Harry Reid.
Party spent $150,000 on,
Palin.
which has a pregnant teenage daughter.
Palin again.
Which wore clothes that their political party spent $150,000 on?
Sarah Palin, I think.
Which of the four has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Sarah Palin.
Which of the four candidates has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Or wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
Palin.
Which of the four wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
I know that was Palin. They made a big deal about that. But you gotta look pretty, right? I don't know. Is that Palin? 57. I don't know. My parent, Sarah Palin.
57 states. That sounds like something Sarah Palin would say.
McCain.
I'd put that on Palin.
McCain.
Which won their first election by getting their
State of shock. They're not able to protect their interests.
And this sounds like a very tightly controlled audience and list of questions. Why do it that way? Why not?
How about we do this? How about you can ask me that question tomorrow based on what questions were asked, rather than pre-selecting your question based on something that may or may not come through.
Why pre-select? Why not just open it up to people and allow any question to come in?
Well, Chip, I think if you get on your computer from your email address, have you sent in your question?
About Barack Obama and the universe of his thinking about foreign policy.
I don't really know. And do we know anything about the people who are advising them?
You know, it's an interesting question.
He is principally known through his autobiography and through very aspirational speeches.
I don't know what books he's read.
What do we know about the heroes of Barack Obama?
There's a lot about him we don't know.
Election,
the feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech. I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
I mean, in a way, Obama's standing above the country, above the world. He's sort of God. He's going to.
Barack, as Oprah said, is one of the most brilliant men you will meet in our lifetime. Barack is more than... Wait. Because we say we're ready for change. We say we're ready for change, but see, change is hard. Change will always be hard, and it doesn't happen from the top down. Of other people telling them how their lives will be when they decide to roll up their sleeves and work. And Barack Obama will require you to work. He is going to demand that you shed your cynicism, that you put down your division, that you come out of your isolation, that you move out of your comfort zones, that you push yourselves to be better, and that you engage. Barack will never allow you to go back to your lives as usual.
No, this is largely about power, that it's an adults-only, no-limit game. We kind of agree with Mao that political power comes largely from the barrel of a gun. And we get it, that if you want a friend, you should get a dog.
We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
No, this is largely about power, that it's an adults-only, no-limit game. We kind of agree with Mao that political power comes largely from the barrel of a gun. And we get it, that if you want a friend, you should get a dog.
We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
And they're in a state of shock. They're not able to protect their interests. They become childlike and regressed. The interrogation